We're back again, once again, with another stimulus check update for you. And today we're going to be talking about the next stimulus bill, phase 4 again. Good news, progress continues for our second stimulus check update and second stimulus package update for today, August 2nd of 2020. And we make sure you watch this video all the way through to the end. That way you don't miss out on a special bonus and information that I have for you at the end of the video. So today we're going to be talking about statements from Trump, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, Steve Mnuchin, Nancy Pelosi. The Hazard Pay and Heroes Act is back once again. Yale study, Chicago study from economists, and Mark Meadows on Face the Nation, and James Clyburn too, also as well. So first up on the list, we know Trump has been losing very badly in this election too, in the polls, especially in the swing states, which is really bad for Trump. And it does not look good for Trump in November as things stands right now. This is why Trump is making so many comments in the previous weeks and last month also about how he wants this next stimulus check to be larger than the first ones, his next stimulus check to be larger than what the Democrats want. Also, in all of these comments in his White House press briefing about how he wants expanded unemployment to $600 and expanded eviction moratoriums too also as well. So basically, we're going to get into some comments from Trump on the negotiations and how they're going right now and how he feels about this also as well. So let's listen a little in to what Trump has to say.
Well, I think so. The Democrats have to do it. We've been very generous, overly, and I want to take care of the people, not only Florida, but the whole country. And, you know, we had record job numbers last month and the month after that. So we're headed in the right direction. And the Democrats view this as a political thing. They view it for November 3rd, and we don't do it that way. We're doing the right thing. So we want to get the money out. It's a lot of money, and we want to get it done.
So basically, that's what Trump had to say in an interview, talking about, you know, they've been very generous, and they want to get the money out to the people, and that the Democrats see it as a political thing. Trump even went further to blame the Democrats in a tweet too, also as well, saying that the Democrats are the reason why the people have not gotten their $1,200 checks, their second $1,200 checks yet, and why a family of four have not gotten $3,400 in stimulus checks either as well. So basically, there you have Trump blaming the Democrats. And I mean, we can see, I'll show you something here on the screen here as to what the Democrats have actually been doing since the beginning of this pandemic. Okay. Now, this is back in the date right here in green, the HEROES Act, H.R. 6800, the 116th Congress, was introduced. The HEROES Act was introduced on May 12th of 2020. Okay, so for Trump to be blaming the Democrats, I don't think it's the Democrats to be blame it here. The Democrats been hard at work for the people. Ever since May 12th, the Democrats already passed the HEROES Act. Now, what have the Republicans been doing since then? Okay, the CARES Act has passed Congress on March 27th. That's when we got our first stimulus check somewhere around April. Most people started receiving them in April. Okay, so let's count the months here. We have March, April, May, June, July. Here we are in August. It's been 5 months. What have the Republicans been doing to help the people? Nothing. Zero. Nothing at all. No stimulus checks, not even thinking about stimulus checks at all. Is not till now in the last minute, actually the last week of the expiration of the unemployment benefits. That's when the Republicans want to talk about helping the people, another stimulus check, unemployment extension, and all of these things. Okay. So basically, we have Trump blaming the Democrats. We also have the Democrats blaming Trump. Okay, and we also have a statement from Nancy Pelosi after the negotiations went down yesterday morning between Nancy Pelosi, Steve Mnuchin, Mark Meadows, and Chuck Schumer, too, also as well. So right now we're going to get into a little bit about what Nancy Pelosi had to say, basically, in her interview. And this was an interview on ABC 13 today. So let's hear a little bit about from Nancy Pelosi here.
What do you say to those 30 million Americans who are now without federal unemployment help?
I say to them, talk to President Trump. He's the one who is standing in the way of that. We have been for the $600. They have a $200 proposal, which does not meet the needs of America's working families. And it's a condescension, quite frankly, because they're saying really don't need it. They're just staying home because they make more money at $600. So the idea that they made a proposal is really not actually factual.
House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer was asked this week if you might be willing to settle for a smaller amount than the $600 in federal aid to the unemployed. And he said to say that it's $600 or nothing, no, that is not what we are. So anything less than $600 is not a deal breaker?
No, the fact is that the amount of money that is given as an enhancement for unemployment insurance should relate to the rate of unemployment. So as that goes down, then you can consider something less than the 600. But in this agreement, it's $600. And again, they're subjecting somebody who might be, they say, oh, people are staying home. The data does not support that. Yes, they might anecdotally have examples, but the fact is that they're subjecting somebody who gets $600 to scrutiny that they won't subject some of the people who are getting millions of dollars in the PPP. So this is about putting workers first. And the fact is, if we're going to succeed, we must defeat the virus. So
I want to go back to that
testing.
$600 and people staying home. Hoyer also said that there is an argument to be made that the additional $600 in federal assistance is, as some Republicans have argued, a disincentive for some to go back to work. Do you think there is any validity to that?
No, I have the statistics. Since then, we have seen the statistics from Yale University and the rest. Overwhelmingly, this is making a difference. It's keeping people out of poverty. And actually, with all due respect, you are talking about statements that Leader Hoyer made that he has elaborated on since then. But the $600 is essential. But it's essential for America's working families. And again, to condescend, to disrespect their motivation is so amazing how insistent the Republicans are about a working family and their $600 and how cavalier they are about other money that is going out. But the fact is, we have to get back to the strategic plan. And in the HEROES Act, we have 3 pillars that address this concern. First, honor our heroes, state and local government, healthcare workers, et cetera, who are risking their lives to save lives.
Okay, so there we have it. Nancy Pelosi, she weighs in on her comments after the negotiations took place yesterday morning and responding to Donald Trump's blaming the Democrats for the people and us not getting our second stimulus check yet. So basically, I can agree with Nancy Pelosi here, where she does have a valid point where the $600 actually it should decrease when the unemployment rate decreases too also as well. And I kind of agree with Chuck Schumer yesterday morning when he was interviewed after the meeting with Nancy Pelosi, Steve Mnuchin, and Mark Meadows, where Chuck Schumer, he stated that, basically paraphrasing that if there's 1 million people hungry, you don't just feed half of the million people and let the other million people starve. You feed all the 1 million people, and he has a very valid point there. So the Republicans, yes, they are in disarray. They're disagreeing with each other. about something simple like giving us a second stimulus check, right? And the Democrats are pretty much united, right? Many Republicans do not even want to give us a second stimulus check. And you see that Nancy Pelosi mentioned the hazard pay for the essential workers and the HEROES Act too also as well. I really hope the HEROES Act does, in fact, get passed too also as well. And she mentioned some facts of a Yale study, because the Republicans are talking about how the $600 in unemployment boost prevents people from wanting to go back to work. Well, let's get into a little bit about this, a little more facts on the issue. I know a lot of the Republicans have mentioned a lot of anecdotal details, and anecdotal meaning hearsay, a lot of hearsay, what people are saying about people are making more money on unemployment than they are going to work. Well, this kind of very condescending to those people that are on unemployment. And I agree with Nancy Pelosi on that too as well. So let's get into this Yale study. Okay, basically what happened here is a Yale study was done by Yale University. Okay. And this was on news.yale.edu. So here's basic, I'm going to give you the gist of it here. The researchers found no evidence that recipients of more generous benefits were likely to return to work. They also found that workers who received larger increases in their unemployment benefits relative to their wages did not experience greater declines in employment after the CARES Act was enacted. So basically, these people, they went back to work. And a lot of them that went back to work in May and June, okay, remember when June, where Donald Trump was bragging on television about how we had record numbers of low unemployment rates during the pandemic, right? And the jobs report that he was boasting and bragging about on national television, okay, that's part of the reason why a lot of these people who were on receiving the extra $600 in unemployment, yes, according to a Chicago study on which the Republicans tried to sit on and use that as evidence, the Chicago study basically says that 68% of the people who were on unemployment was making more money on unemployment than they were when they were working. That is fact, okay? But also the Yale study is also fact that the 600 boost, though they were making more money in unemployment, it did not stop them from going back to work in May and June. That's why we had record high unemployment numbers, okay? So, you know, that's part of the disagreement here that's going on and holding up the negotiations for the second stimulus check too also as well. And Chuck Schumer, the Senate minority leader for the Democrats, he made a tweet on Twitter, and he mentioned what Mitch McConnell, the Senate majority leader, had stated in an interview too also as well, when yesterday he said that 15 to 20 of the Republicans in the Senate will not vote for a second stimulus check. So let's hear a little bit more what Mitch McConnell had to say here.
Of course, the Secretary Mnuchin and Chief of Staff Mark Meadows are doing the negotiating with the Democrats. But you're right, Judy. About 20 of my members think that we've already done enough.
Okay, so Mitch McConnell says about 20 of the Republicans in the Senate believe that they have already done enough, meaning those 20 Republicans, they believe that we should not get any stimulus checks, no unemployment, no nothing. Okay, no nothing at all, period. That's how those 20 Republicans feel. And I'm telling you guys now, I am going to research and find out who those 20 Republicans are. And I'm going to put them all over our Facebook pages and groups, our social media, here in a YouTube video. So that way everyone can know who those 20 Republicans are. So that way we can make sure to vote these people out in November. We need to get rid of those Republicans who are holding up our stimulus checks, who are going to vote no on giving us a stimulus check and helping the American people during this pandemic, okay, when the people need the help the most. And now what we have here is Treasury Secretary Mnuchin making comments today regarding their negotiations as of yesterday and the overall status of where we stand on receiving a second stimulus check and stimulus package too also as well. So I'm going to play a little bit of what he had to say on ABC News. So let's listen in a little to what he had to say on ABC this week.
Mnuchin, you agreed that the meetings were constructive yesterday. Your reaction to what you just heard Pelosi say, and are you any closer to an actual deal? It sure doesn't sound like it.
Well, first, let me just say I was surprised that the speaker said we don't agree on the need to kill the virus. We absolutely agree on the need to kill the virus. And let me just say, the president acted very aggressively when this virus first came from China to shut down all travel. And since then, we have aggressively funded over 7 different vaccines into production. We're very optimistic that we will have results out of these vaccines, and we'll have a vaccine available by the end of the year. So we absolutely agree on the need to kill this. And let me also just say, the president's very concerned about the expiration of the unemployment insurance. We proposed a 1-week extension at $600 so that while we negotiate a longer-term solution, at least all those people don't lose their money. And I'm surprised that the Democrats won't agree to that. They are insistent on having this as part of a larger deal.
I just want to say I'm not sure the president shut down all travel at that point, but let's move on. Democrats passed their plan to extend those benefits through January more than 2 months ago. Why did Republicans wait so long to start negotiating?
Well, at the time, let me just say, we had enormous bipartisan support on the last 2 deals, passed 96-0 and 100-0. And as a result of that, we've authorized over $3 trillion into the U.S. economy. This has never been done in the history of time. We had put about a half of that into the economy. We wanted to wait and see how the money was going to work. And we have to balance. There's obviously a need to support workers, to support the economy. People who, through no fault of their own, are shut down because of this terrible disease. On the other hand, we have to be careful about not piling on enormous amounts of debt for future generations. So the president's determined to spend what we need to spend, and we're acting very quickly now.
Okay, so that's pretty much what Steve Mnuchin had to say. And do I agree with what he had to say? Basically, not really. Okay, when he talks about they worried about getting into tremendous amounts of debt, economists have proven that right now there's pretty much no inflation. Okay, and the chief of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, he pretty much testified to that too, also as well. So this is the time to spend the big money. Okay, this is the time to not be holding back. And pretty much Mark Meadows, who was one of the 4 negotiators yesterday morning that negotiated on the second stimulus package, he was also on Face the Nation this morning. And let's hear a little bit of what he had to say.
Well, thank you for being here. I want to start with the state of discussions on that aid package. Yesterday, Senator Schumer, the Democratic leader, said it was the best discussions we've had so far. Would you put it that way?
Well, I would characterize it that way, but we still have a long ways to go. I can tell you that we spent the last 3 days, actually last 4 days, trying to get to some kind of consensus, at least to start negotiating. Yesterday was a step in the right direction. Our staffs are actually working today. We'll be meeting again tomorrow, but I'm not optimistic that there will be a solution in the very near term. And that's why I think the effort that Senator Martha McSally led on the Senate floor to extend the enhanced unemployment was the right move. And yet Senator Schumer and his Democrat colleagues blocked that.
Well, there's also, of course, been some heartburn among Republicans who see an extension of a larger number being a strain on the deficit. So my question to you is,
but John, I would recommend when that came to the Senate floor, there was not a single Republican that voted against that. It was only the Democrats that voted against that. So I think it's important for your viewers to understand that if you have unemployed people that have lost their enhanced unemployment, they need to call their Democrat senators and House members, because they're the ones that are standing in the way.
So that's pretty much Mark Meadows, White House chief of staff, putting the blame back on the Democrats again. Okay, now they claim that they made 4 proposals to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Okay, and during the negotiations, this was Friday night negotiations, and they say that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer rejected all 4 proposals. Now, basically, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, they don't want a piecemeal bill put out there. They don't want just one bill made for the stimulus checks and that passed, and then we all get our stimulus check and that's it. No, they don't want one bill passed for unemployment and that goes out and people get the unemployment. No, and the reasons why I could understand why Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer don't want that is simply because look at what the Republicans have been doing or not doing, actually, since March and the passing of the CARES Act. March, April, May, June, July, August. Okay, almost 6 months. Republicans have done nothing to help out the American people with any stimulus check, any unemployment extension. They wasn't worried about moratoriums or anything. They wasn't planning for the moratorium to expire. They wasn't planning for the unemployment to expire. Nothing like that. No assistance with food, any help during the pandemic for the people. Okay. And just looking at what the Republicans have done almost 6 months, right, with nothing for the people, I don't blame Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer for rejecting their offers a temporary bill. Now, Donald Trump and Mnuchin proposed a 1-week extension of the $600. And the reason why they wanted to reject that is because, okay, what if they do pass that 1-week extension? Okay, it all goes through, passes the Senate, passes the House, President Trump signs it. It's a done deal. People start getting more unemployment, right? Now, they have to go back to the Republicans again and try to get more relief for a stimulus check and more relief for eviction moratoriums, more relief for the hazard pay for the essential workers, more relief for mortgage forbearance, more relief for the student loans payments suspension. So it's just a matter of fact where the Republicans, I believe honestly, that if the Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer agree to a short-term solution like 1 week or even a month or 2, I believe the Republicans will not come back to the table and try to put together another package for a stimulus check or a second stimulus check or another package for hazard pay. I believe they will not come back to the table. It will be the same excuse they've been having all this time, that they've done enough, right? Which they have not done enough. They haven't done nowhere near enough. And that they don't need to, Americans don't need stimulus checks and they don't need any more help, right? That would be their excuse. So Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, hats off to you for not accepting a temporary solution, because that would have been the last stimulus package that the Republicans in the Senate would have even tried to pass and given out to all of us Americans here. So we also do have a Representative Jay Clyburn, who is also a Democrat, who he also weighed in about on these negotiations and our stimulus package and what he feels about the Republicans' proposals too also as well. We're going to hear a little bit about what he had to say.
I'm well, thanks. I'm going to bring up what I discussed with Mr. Meadows this morning. I asked him what question he would ask you about getting this aid package put forward. And he said, your former colleague in Congress, he said, why won't the Democrats in Congress agree to a short-term measure that brings back this unemployment assistance, and then deal with those other issues later? What's your answer?
Well, I would ask him, is short term 1 week, or is it 6 months, or even 90 days? I really think we ought to quit jerking low-income people around. Let's lay out some security in their lives, some stability in their lives. And if we were to talk about extending the UI or the $600 supplement to UI for the next 6 months while we negotiate all these other issues, then that would be one thing. This 1 week, 2 weeks, this jerking people around is not the way we ought to be conducting ourselves as custodians of this great democracy.
So that's pretty much what James Clyburn, congressman, also had to say, Democrat congressman, and his words hold a lot of weight. Holds a lot of weight, and the reason why I say it holds a lot of weight is because, for example, when he endorsed actually Bernie Sanders, who was running for president, right, this year and the end of last year, he was pretty much winning in the primaries. Then it went down to the South. Okay, and with Representative James Clyburn, he went ahead and he endorsed Joe Biden. Once he did that, that just turned the whole election around. And now, who's the presumptive Democratic nominee? Joe Biden, right? But I kind of, understand where he's coming from, and these Democrats, they got a good point here, with a short-term extension. Okay, that would maybe help people pay their bills and put food on their table for 1 week. Okay, and then what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to wait another 6 months for the Republicans in the Senate to want to help them out again. And what are they going to do after that? After they pass the 1 week short-term extension, then they're going to say, okay, let's wait and see, like they've been saying for the past 4 or 5 months. Let's wait and see. Let's wait till the job numbers for next month come out. The next month comes, and let's wait till the job numbers for the following month come out. And the following month comes, and then it's the same story. Okay, not until there's a deadline of something expiring, like the unemployment insurance or the eviction moratoriums. That's the only time the Republicans want to even try to help out the people. Okay, in other words, the people could drown for all they care, pretty much. All right. But what I have here for you also is some more proof here that $1,200 check is not enough. It may be enough in Mitch McConnell's hometown of Louisville because it may cover the median rent there, right? But it actually doesn't in most of the country. For example, the median median rent, for apartments, right, in San Diego, where 32% of Hispanics are, is $1,993 a month. In New York City, where there's 29% Hispanic, is $1,997. In Miami, you have 45% Hispanic, is $1,641. And in Louisville, Kentucky, where Senator Mitch McConnell lives, there's only 5% Hispanics there, and the median rent there is $1,020. Sioux Falls, which has only 5% of Hispanics, is $976 is the median rent, and Casper is $1,087. So pretty much it kind of tells you that Mitch McConnell, I can understand why he's been acting the way he's been acting towards giving us stimulus checks and extending unemployment and eviction moratoriums for the past almost 5 months or so since the CARES Act has been passed. And part of that reason is because in his hometown of Louisville, Kentucky, the median income, the median rent, I'm saying, not median income, the median rent for that town, his hometown, can be paid with one stimulus check. Yeah, because the median rent there is only $1,020. But for the rest of the country, it's not that. For the majority of the country, it's way higher than that. Okay, so Mitch McConnell, he really doesn't understand what the Americans are facing. He does not understand what the Americans are going through. And the Republicans sure don't understand. And they're out of touch with the people. Okay, the working people, they're way out of touch with the working people too also as well. And we have also some statements from a major economist here about the economy and the state of the economy and what could possibly happen to the economy too also as well. And basically they're saying that the recovery could backslide and it could leave permanent damage. This is what the economists warned on yesterday here in the Seattle Times. And basically they said that businesses that had started to reopen, they're forced to shutter or close down, possibly forever. And it's already happening in parts of the country that are seeing a spike in C-word cases. There's a growing consensus among economists that the best tool the nation has to prevent a long, ugly downturn is for Congress to go big on another relief package. So the economists are not saying, okay, let's just pass one temporary package, just take care of unemployment for 1 week, or let's just do one stimulus check bill and give everybody a $1,200 check. And that's it for the next 6 months. No, they're talking about to go big on another relief package, not $1 trillion. The next package needs to exceed $1 trillion. It probably needs to be closer to $3 trillion. If we don't go big, we're going to pay for it for years and years. Okay. And basically, I can pretty much understand where those economists are coming from. Okay. When they're saying that, because I mean, if my boss gives me a job to do at work, and he says, I want all of this work done, right? I want all of this work done. I want all of these rooms in this house painted by 6 o'clock. And he knows that it can be done. And I know it can be done by 6 o'clock and completed, okay? Without rushing the job or anything like that, or without compromising quality of the job. And I just go ahead and paint only one room in the house, and then 6 o'clock comes around and my boss comes in and says, hey, I thought I told you to paint all the rooms in the house. And I say, well, I think one room is temporary for now, and that's painted already. We'll wait and see how things go with me, and then maybe next month we'll see how things go, and then I'll paint the second room or whatever. No, and that's not how it's supposed to be done. You want to do the job, you do the whole job, or do nothing at all. Okay, and that's what the Republicans are trying to do. They're trying to do a piecemeal job on a stimulus package. If you, like I said, if you want to do the job right, do the whole job the right way, or just don't do the job. Don't do it at all. Period. Okay. So now we have more statements here from 150 medical experts about should we shut down the economy again, or shut down the country, or keep the country open. And what we have here is over 150 medical experts. They urge Trump, Congress, and the states to shut the United States down again amid the virus surge, is what they're talking about. And basically what they said here in a letter sent to the Trump administration and members of Congress and state governors last week is the best thing for the nation is to not to reopen as quickly as possible. It's to save as many lives as possible. In March, people went home and stayed there for weeks to keep themselves and their neighbors safe. You didn't use the time to set us up to defeat the virus. Then you started to reopen anyway, and too quickly. Right now, we're on a path to lose more than 200,000 American lives by November 1st. Yet, in many states, people can drink in bars, get a haircut, eat inside a restaurant, get a tattoo, get a massage, and do myriad other normal, pleasant, but non-essential activities. So there you have it from 150 economists. They're suggesting that we just close the country down, right? And now I'm just going to give you an idea of what we're looking at as far as the timeline that the Congress has to pass the second stimulus check package here. Now, what we have here is a calendar here up on the screen. This is the days that Congress is out of the Senate is actually working. And you see Monday, August 3rd, which is tomorrow, through Friday, August 7th, and then they go on a recess starting the 8th. They will not be back till Tuesday, September 8th, and they work through September 30th. And hopefully they will be able to get the next stimulus package done before or by August 7th, before August 8th. If not, we will have to wait till they can work on it again starting September 8th, which is another 30 days again. So that's the downside of it here that we're looking at. And the way things are going now, I don't know if they'll be able to do it, but hopefully they can see that. If they're not able to do it, then it's political suicide, and bye-bye Republican majority in the Senate. And it's going to be at least another 2 years before the Republicans have the majority in the Senate again. Okay. And hello to more stimulus checks for us, expanded unemployment, eviction moratoriums in effect, hazard pay for essential workers, more HEROES Acts coming out. Okay. But do these senators or congressmen actually understand, what we go through, what the middle class and working people go through on a day-to-day basis? Well, let's see how much they actually make, like what their salaries look like here. We have Nancy Pelosi. Okay, her net worth is $120 million, right? And we have Senator Mitch McConnell. His net worth, $22.5 million. So that kind of gives you an idea, like, do they really understand what the people are going through? In my opinion, this is what I believe, okay? This may or may not ever happen. But I think that the senators and the House of Representatives, the president, they should not be the ones to make the choice or decision for what is best for the country, okay? As far as like how much amount of stimulus check we should get, how much unemployment we should get, should essential workers get hazard pay. They should not be the ones to decide all of this or vote on it. You know who should decide on it or vote on it? We should. We, the people, should be the one voting on these things. All right. Bills should be put together, like the HEROES Act, the HEALS Act, all them, proposals put together from the senators, and the people should vote on it, not the senators and not the representatives. And it should be signed by the president. I believe the president should still have the right to sign on it, but I don't believe the senators should have any right to decide or vote on any bills that will affect the American people or the House of Representatives. So that's pretty much all I got for you. Make sure that you join our Facebook group so you can get more stimulus check information by clicking the link down inside of the description. Just click the down arrow here. The description opens up. While you're in there, check out other links for free money and other helpful resources too also as well. Make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. From all of us here at the How to Get an 800 Credit Score LLC family, stay safe, be blessed. We'll see you in the next one. See you tomorrow.
My name is Lyndon Baptiste, and on this channel we talk about ways to increase your credit score, build credit, and get approved for the lowest payments on mortgages and lines of credit, travel the world for free, earn extra money with cash back. And if that interests you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. That way you'll never miss a single video as we make them.